Hi everyone.
Hi Jamie.
Hi. I'm Jamie, and I've been going to the Cordial Eye for maybe 2 months now. And to tell you how it's affected my life, I need to go back a few years. About 3 years ago, my life completely changed. It flipped upside down. I'm not going to give you the details. I like to call it a spiritual awakening. If my ex-husband was here tonight, he'd call it a nervous breakdown. But he's not here, so we're going to go with my version. So basically, a few years ago, I call it waking up. I woke up and I realized that I had been spending my life walking a path that didn't belong to me. And I don't know if some of you can relate to that, you know, and you wake up one day and you realize, I'm not where I'm supposed to be. And when that happens, it's really messy. And you realize all of these emotions and experiences and resentments you've been holding inside your body are suddenly coming out like a volcano, and it's ugly. So the way that I processed all of that is I started journaling, just writing everything down that I was feeling. And I ended up filling 9 journals in 1 year. And in the process of that, I realized I actually am pretty good at writing. So I transitioned over to a blog and developed a following, and people were connecting with what I had to say, and I realized this is kind of the spiritual part of it, that this was kind of part of a plan that was set in place by somebody much bigger than I am. So I had a couple of my essays were published. I knew I was on the right path, and part of the plan I just knew was that I had to learn how to speak my words. I had the writing down part done pretty well, but I have a huge fear of public speaking. And I still have it. Right now I can hear my heart beating in my ears. And I'm glad that there's red lighting in it. You can't see my face. So I set out on a mission this year to overcome that fear. And I started out by going to the TED Talks in Provincetown this summer. You guys all know what the TED Talks is? Woo! They get a bunch of great speakers to get up and talk about something that they're passionate about, and they record it, and it's on YouTube, and it goes viral. So I thought I would find some inspiration there. And I was not disappointed. I went there, and those people were amazing. And when you're sitting in the audience, and you're not actually just watching the YouTube video, you get to see the behind the scenes. And it was interesting that these amazing speakers were so nervous in the beginning before the camera turned on. And, you know, shaking, sweating. And then the camera came on and they were awesome. And I thought, God, why can't I be like that? And I was particularly taken by this one speaker who, she got up on the stage and she kind of took a deep breath. You could tell she was centering herself. The camera came on and she owned it. I mean, she just commanded the stage. And she was so powerful and passionate with what she was speaking about. And she's a poet, so she somehow figured out how to weave poetry into her conversation with us. And it was so natural and so different. And I was like, that's what I want to be able to do. I want to be able to connect with the audience like that. So I left inspired, but I still had the tremendous fear of public speaking. It didn't help me at all. So if you fast forward to like a month ago, I found myself at a hotel in Hyannis at a female ladies holiday shopping night, you know, where they set up all the vending tables and there's local vendors there selling their Christmas stuff. And I'm walking up and down the aisles, and I see that woman a couple aisles away, and I start freaking out. And I don't know her name, so I'm just pointing at her and yelling. And I'm like, "You're the TED Talk woman! You're the TED Talk woman!" And I'm charging her, and she's freaking out. She's kind of crouching, and her eyes are really wide, and I'm realizing that I'm scaring her. So I slow down my walk, and I said calmly, I had to take a deep breath, I said, "I saw you in Provincetown at the TED Talks, and I really connected with you. I thought you were amazing." And I said, what are you doing here at the holiday fair? And she said, "Well, I'm promoting the Cordial Eye." And I said, "What is that?" And she started explaining it to me, and she talked about how she runs an open mic twice a month. And then I realized, oh, this is part of the plan. You know, I had my awakening. I went to the TED Talks. It's not a coincidence that I bumped into her. It was Tamora Israel. Yeah. And so I shared with her my story of how I needed to learn how to speak in front of people. because I have a message. And she so calmly and confidently said, oh, all of that can be unlearned. And she was so genuine about it that I believed her. And so I showed up at the next open mic, and I was just a spectator. There was no way I was going to get up and speak. I said, I'm just going to come to 1 or 2 and just look before I actually get up, or maybe 10 or 12 or 20. You know. And the crowd there was amazing. I can't describe how supportive and welcoming, like you've known them your whole lives already. And this one young guy, I don't know, maybe like 19, 20, got up, and he was more scared than I am right now. Like, I'm shaking right now talking to you guys. You could see it, and he admitted it, and he said, I'm sorry, his voice is shaking, and he said, I'm just so nervous right now. And that made us love him so much. It's like we all became his mom and dad, and we're really rooting for him. And as scared as he was, he read 3 poems off of his phone that he wrote, and they were awesome. And he faced that fear in front of the crowd, and we were like just sincerely cheering him on. And I thought, well, if this young kid can get up as scared as I am and do it, then what's my excuse? And plus, I didn't know he could read things, so I have all of my writings on my phone, so I picked the best thing I ever wrote, the first thing I got published. And I stood up there, and I was scared shitless. And I didn't look at the crowd. I was staring down at my phone. My mouth was dry, kind of like it is right now. And I read it like a robot, and I just was trying to get through it. And there was no inflection or emotion, and they all clapped for me at the end, because that's what you do when somebody gets up. And finally, I get the courage to look up at them, and like half of them were crying. And so I realized that it's okay if I suck. It's okay if I'm afraid. And it was the most supportive group to do this in front of. So I've been going there every time they have it, and practicing and practicing. And I've also gone to the writer's workshop with Matt, and I can't tell you how valuable that is. What a talented group of writers, and it's so diverse. And at first I didn't think I'd fit in because I don't do fiction, but they've helped me a lot to tighten up some of my stories, and I don't know, it's just like a community there. And so it's changed my life, because if I didn't have this practice at the Cordial Eye with this group of people supporting me, then I know there's no way that I would have launched my first podcast this week. And even more surprisingly, if I hadn't done that, there's no way that I would have won the Story Slam right here last week. I didn't win by the judge's choice, because technically I suck at public speaking. But I won, which I think is the better winner, is the crowd favorite. And every person came up to me after and said that they really connected with what I had to say. And that was my mission, was that I would be able to speak well enough that I could connect with people. And so meeting Tamora at the TED Talks is what led me to all of this, and now I'm connecting with people even more with my podcast. So she's changed my life. And when she changes my life, I'm going to change someone else's life, right? And these guys are working so hard at this place. They're all so passionate about what they do. And even if you don't need to go there for something, if you're not a writer and you're not a speaker, you still should dig deep in your pockets tonight, because they're improving our community. And it's not every day that people can actually change lives for the better, and that's what they're doing. And it's a ripple effect, and we want to keep that going, and they shouldn't have to worry about whether they can, pay the rent. And it's such a minimal charge to go there. I'm just in awe of what you guys are doing, and so I hope that everybody contributes as much as they can tonight. Keep the ripple effect going.
Woo!